What I'm going to share with you this morning, I believe, is the most important video you will watch up until this point in your lifetime, because I'm going to introduce you and I'm going to show you exactly what the future of investing is with the use of AI. I have an AI agent. Her name is Samantha. She's damn good at what she does. She's probably as good, if not better, than any Wall Street analysts. And I'm going to walk you through how you get into a company's books. We're going to use Iran Energy in order for you to follow it through from step 1 to step 15, so that you know what's the price of that stock going to be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And let's refresh that and update it every 90 days so that we don't have any surprises and we can anticipate what's going to happen next. Don't deal with today's fluff. Don't deal with today's FOMO. Let's deal with growth stocks and their future. This is the most important video you will have watched up until this moment in your life. The first place you go if you're going to look at their books is you go to their financials and you go to their income statement. You want to look at revenues. If a business is growing, its revenues are going to grow. And as you can see, they started back in 2019. They had $2 million. They're up to $370 million. They've accelerated in the last 3 years. You can see that there. Then the next question you ask yourself is, how is operating income? They're not profitable. They haven't been profitable back until since 2022, but they're growing. This is a data center that has, it started as a Bitcoin miner. It's recognized its futures in being a data center, and it's investing as fast as it can. And I'll show you that in the future. The other thing you want to look at is their interest expense, and you'll see their interest expense is going up because they are borrowing money to grow their business. Their net income, again, reflects that they're spending more than they're making because they are a growing business. This is not a bad thing if you can see that they're actually making an effort to grow. And then we have, again, the basic earnings per share, and you can see we are negative. We've been heavily negative since 2022. We're getting lower and lower, and we're going to see that they're going to go profitable in 2025. The next thing we do is we go to the balance sheet. How are their assets growing? Is their situation getting better as far as assets? And as you can see, their assets are growing. This is cash and cash equivalents on their books. They're pretty heavily cash rich, but they are borrowing money. Let's look at their current liabilities and look at their current debt. As you can see, their short-term borrowing has gone up substantially. That makes up most of their debt, and that is to put them into a position where they can provide the infrastructure that AI is demanding. After I look at their books, the next thing I do is attend their earnings call. And here is the first thing they presented to me in their earnings call. As you can see, from second quarter of 2025 to third quarter, revenues are up 24%. That's in a quarter. Their EBITDA is up from 62 million to 82. That's a 32% growth. And their profits are from 18 to 24. That's an 18% growth. This is a company that is growing. Their cost per hash in Bitcoin mining is $23, where their profit is $54. And so it is costing them $41,000 in the last quarter to mine a Bitcoin, and they're selling it for $93,000. So that is a profitable opportunity. They're going to freeze this, as I'll show you, and they're going to concentrate on as a AI provider. Right now they are at 40 EH. What I believe that means is this is the number of guesses that they can make per second on the mining of the Bitcoin. They will bring that up by adding more compute power in June 30th to 50 EH. that will then be frozen there, and it will continue to generate funds at the rate I just showed you, so that they can then put their efforts towards providing data center for the hyperscalers. And this is a breakdown of the profitability of their Bitcoin mining at a 60%, and as they get up to a 50 EH, that will go up to 62%. So this is where they generate their money at this time, and this is where they raise their money along with debt to build out what I'm about to show you. This is their current facility, and they call it Horizon 1. It is a 50 megawatt facility that is growing over the next 2 years. This is what it will grow to. What I showed you in the previous slide was this element here. This is what they're adding so that they can become one of the major providers of AI data centers. This is their projection of the growth and demand for AI. These are global users of AI currently at 346 million, projected in 2030 to go up to 953 million. That's growth in 5 years. Then they basically project what their data center growth is going to be in 5 years, and that's a 3.5x. The next thing then we want to look at is all this growth. How does that translate into earnings per share and growth of the stock, and thus translate into the price of the stock in the future? So what I come to is my source where I track the earnings per share. As you can see, if we go back to 23, the earnings per share are worth negative $3.14. Then in 24, a negative 29 cents, and then in 25 we're projecting a 13%. Well, from a negative 29 to a 13, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of what, 200% growth from negative 29 to a positive 13. Then they are projecting that their earnings per share will in 2026 be $1.03. That's a 683% increase in earnings per share. This is what the market will be looking at, and you will see a substantial growth in the price of Irish shares. Now, will it amount to a 683%? No, because its current PE ratio is 65. If at the current price, its PE ratio would be 8.3, but this number will probably come down to something in the neighborhood of 40 or 45, and that's how we will determine what the price of the stock will be. And I'll show you how I analyze that to determine that. Now, something interesting is they are anticipating that their earnings will come down in 2027. This is probably because AI will reach its peak sometime in 2026. At least that's what the analysts think right now. The next thing I look at, are they going to get a corresponding growth in their revenues? And you can see, yes, they are anticipating 162% increase in their revenues in 25, followed by a 70% increase in 2026, and then a lower increase in revenues in 2027. This is the same progression that we have seen in NVIDIA. You get your big thrust growth, you get another good year, and then it starts to come back down into a more realistic zone. My next step is to incorporate Samantha. And what I have to do is go to Samantha and say, this is what I want you to do for me. I want you to analyze the stock for these parameters. And as you can see here, this is my prompt. I, Kerry Garinkmeyer, would like you to produce an Iran Limited financial health analysis for forecasting the stock price from January 26th 27, 28, under 3 scenarios: conservative, moderate, aggressive. In this analysis, include the following. And you can see here I have 25 instructions as to what she should include. Then I basically provide her with additional sources of information that she can use for her analysis. My prompt, then, this is what Samantha gives back to me. This happens to be the one that I did on May the 10th for SciTime Corporation, and it goes through its health, or its financial health. You can see it gives me an executive summary here of what the company is all about, an overview and its overall strategic direction, what it's trying to do, what it's trying to achieve. It then goes into its financial performance, tells me about its profitability, its profit and operating margins, how it stands up to the rule of 40, what its liquidity is, and how it will survive any hard times, headwinds or tailwinds, its solvency and its capital structure, its efficiency, the use of its assets, of its people, of every aspect. As it says, a revenue per employee is 582,000, and then it tells me how that compares to other companies. It goes into its growth investments, how it is spending its money in research and development, CapEx, and how it's pursuing talent to make it a more profitable company. It goes into its headcount. Is it growing its workforce, or is it cutting back, which gives me some insights. It then benchmarks it against its peers, and that would be Skywater, Oravo, and Analog Devices. It goes in and it gives me a comparison on scale and growth, on profitability, on valuation multiples, because I want to know, is its PE ratio in line with the rest of the industry, its peer competitive position, where it stands in its industry, and how it compares. We then go into the market conditions, current market conditions, and stock behavior relative to those market conditions. Then we get into technical analysis relative to the market conditions. We compare it to the VIX and how this company reacts to the VIX and what we've seen lately. Then we go into valuations and forecasts. We use a discounted cash rate metric to determine what its fair value is. And what most of us are interested in is the valuation and forecast. And what Samantha does is breaks it down into a conservative, a moderate, and an aggressive scenario. And what I focus on is the moderate. And you can see January 28 target price is 325, and then it breaks it down year by year so I can follow it accordingly. Now, what I will do is redo this every quarter. So when SciTime does its quarterly report in 3 months, I'll come back, ask Samantha to reevaluate and give me exactly the same kind of analysis in 3 months from now. And that's how I project and keep up with the stocks that I believe are the stocks of my future. And this is where I share all that information for all the stocks that I follow with my tribe members, particularly those on the gold platform and above. And as you can see here, we'll find there's Iran. This is the analysis I just did, and it will be available. All you have to do is click on that link, and that will give you the analysis I did on Iran. And then if you want that in a shorter format, you click here. And if you want it in a podcast format, you click here. And then I invite my tribe members to submit me stocks that they want to follow. Some of these you're going to recognize the names. This is one that, these are some that have just been brought to my attention that I am just doing the analysis on. And as you can see, some of them have some tremendous potential, but I will not be buying them until I get the full financial health from Samantha, and we do the briefing, and we do the podcast, and then we as a tribe decide, is this something we want to move from down here up to here? One of those that we just recently moved up was Moderna, and it's doing quite well. You might want to look at it. It has the potential, according to Samantha and I, of a 285% growth rate. So that's how this is done. And as you can see, this is when their next earnings reports are going to be made. And what Samantha will do is, as she gets up to speed, she will do these automatically. And that is to say, when Iran has its next earnings report, she will do the analysis. She will plug in what the 25, 26, 27 price is. She will come in and then do this calculation. She will then fill in the financial health analysis, and this will all be done by Samantha, my AI agent. This is what artificial intelligence is all about, giving you access to all the financial knowledge in the world about any stock that you want to consider investing in, and then giving you legitimate projections of what's that stock going to be worth 3 years from now. Because that's what you want to invest. Not in today's fluff, not in today's fear of missing out. Invest in what the stock is going to be worth in 3 years, and then update it with the latest knowledge every 3 months. That's what I'm doing for myself, and that's what I'm sharing with you. And I'm willing to share it with you at the outrageous price of $29.95 a month. Some months, that's less than $1 a day.